Welcome back, everyone, to Data Science for Everyone. Today, we're going to be looking at and continuing on our discussion with candlestick plots with Plotly. Let's get started. So, first off, in the last episode, we were kind of dealing with some nice interactivity with our candlestick plots, and we showed just the basics, okay? So, how to create a candlestick plot, and as well as how to change the color. Now, there are a lot of times when you want to add some annotations to these graphs to say, for example, the start of something or the end of something, and we want to show that today. So first off, let's import, let's do Y finance as YF. Let's import plotly dot graph objects as go. Let's import pandas as PD. And let's from date time import date time. Okay, and so this is going to be our basic imports in here. And let's think about what we may want to look at and what data we want to look at. So maybe something that we're interested in is, since we are technically still in the middle of the pandemic, let's go on and maybe look at Johnson & Johnson. Okay, they helped develop one of the vaccines. So let's do something like df is equal to, and what do we want here? Let's do, whoops, I want yf dot download here, and I want JNJ for Johnson & Johnson. And let's have this start in 2019, 01. So it's about, and again, the pandemic started technically at the end of 2019. Okay, or it didn't, well, and again, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So that's going to be our data. Let's do df dot head, take a look at the head. And notice again, we have our open, high, low, close, adjusted close, volume, date. Okay, so let's go on and take a look at this. So first off, let's go on and make the basic plot. So let's do figure is equal to go dot figure. We want our data to equal go dot candlestick, and we'll have in here, let's clean this. So x is equal to df.index for our date. We want open is equal to our df open. We want our high to be df high. Our low to equal df of low. And we want our close to be df of low. And you know what? Let's keep the standard colors, just that green and blue for now. And let's do show. And that is very ugly at the moment, but let's maybe just kind of zoom in on some of this. So notice there's a lot of downs, okay, throughout this time period. So it may not necessarily be the most interesting thing to look at, but at least we can kind of play around with what we want to play around with, okay? So first off, something that we may want to think about is some important dates, okay? So if I rerun this, okay? So some important dates that we want to look at here are somewhere around, I don't know, December of 2019, so somewhere around here. Okay, we have the start of the pandemic, and then somewhere, or no, it's actually somewhere here. Sorry, somewhere here. Started the pandemic. Okay, this is when the virus was first found. Okay, and then somewhere around here, I believe, is going to be March. So let's actually make a list of some important dates. Okay. Let's say, yeah, important dates. Okay. And let's do dictionary. So in this dictionary, let's have a couple items here. So we want, let's do something like, you know what, I'm going to use an old school dictionary here. Let's do first infections. And this was on 2019, 12/12. And then the next are going to be when the World Health Organization declares the pandemic. Okay, and this was on what? This was on 2020-03-11. Let's also do Johnson & Johnson's vaccine approval. So let's do, theirs was the Janssen. So that was their approval date, and it was on 02. Oh, whoops. Let's do 2021-0 what? 02-27. Okay, so this is a little bit later than some of the other vaccines, but again, this is just the stock that we happen to pick, so we'll be able to kind of play around with it just a little bit. So the next thing we want to do is to actually put these on here. Okay, so there's a couple different ways that we can, but first off, I'm gonna grab this whole thing here, and I'm gonna put it down here so that we can take a look at what we want to do with it. So first we want to actually have an updated layout. So we do fig.update layout. Oops, I don't want the P there. And we'll have a title here, and we want Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 pandemic. And then let's also have something like our y-axis title here will be JNJ stock. And then now we can add in some shapes, okay? So the shapes itself is actually going to contain a dictionary. Let me move this up a little bit. So it's going to contain a dictionary here, and it has in here an X naught. Okay, and we'll just do 1 to start out with. So 2019 dash, and actually I'm going to do, what did I name the dictionary here? Important dates, right? So I'll do important dates, and I want first infections. That did not work out the way I wanted it to, but that works anyways. And then we also have the same thing. So I'm actually going to just copy this, all right, for our X1, because what we're doing here, and again, maybe this is a little bit better to, you know what, this is going to wind up getting confusing for people. So I'm going to just leave this up here so that we can look at it. And I'm just going to type in the dates. Okay, so we can do 2019-12-12 X1. Here is going to be 2019-12-12. Y naught is equal to 0. Y1 is equal to 1. Because again, what we're doing here is we're technically drawing a straight line. Okay, so on our x-axis, we basically have 2 points. We're going to be drawing a straight line up and down. Okay, and again, we're going to start at 0 and we're going to go to 1. So that's going to make it that nice straight line. And then we need in here our X reference here is going to be X. Our Y reference here is going to be paper, okay? Because again, it's not exactly the same as what we'd have otherwise. And then we need in here our line width is equal to 2. Let's make it quite fat. And let's go ahead and run this and see what we're missing here. Figure up, whoops, and this is update underscore layout. So notice here, now we have this nice line here that pertains to the Johnson & Johnson, or not the Johnson & Johnson, this is the first infections, okay? So let's actually go on and add in a little bit more information with that, okay? So let's add in the annotation and say something like first infection or first infection. We'll put it at the top or the bottom here. So let's go on and do that. So let's put this a comma here, and then now we'll do annotations. Annotations here, and it's going to be this, a list with a dictionary. And again, here, this is going to be X is equal to our 2019-12-12. And then we want Y is equal to 0.05. Okay, we want it a little bit up above this line. We're going to put it, the goal is to have it somewhere about right here. Okay, and then maybe when we have one of the other ones, we'll maybe put it up here. Maybe, who knows, maybe we'll put another one down here. So let's go on and give that a little bit of a try. And then again, we need our X ref here to be X, our Y ref to be Y, or not Y, we want our Y ref to be paper. Okay, and then show arrow here is going to be false. X anchor here is going to be left. And then our title for this is going to be what? Let's put this on the line here. Title, we had this as first infections. Oops. Let's take a look at what my silliness did here. It's better just to read it here instead of having to scroll all over the place. Oh, and this is silly. This isn't title, this is text. There we go. So now we have here first infections. Okay, and again, we probably want to, maybe we'd want to stylize them a little bit more, but for now, let's just leave it at that. And let's go on and show both of these other ones just so that we kind of get to play around with a full set here. So I'm going to go on and just copy this. And then we will go, oh, I want actually the whole thing here. Give me. And we'll put in a comma, the dictionary, comma, dictionary, and then let's go on and copy these. And then we want the approval. Copy and paste and paste. And let's go on and run this just to make sure that everything's looking well. All right, so there we have our first little bit of our infection. And then now let's go on and add in some annotations for each of these so that they make a little bit more sense. We will copy this. And let's go on and add that in twice. And again, here we will copy our dates to get our x-axis. Now, where this is going to need to change, besides the name here, and so we want World Health Organization declares a pandemic, and we want in here their vaccine approval. And let me run it for now, and you can see how horrible it looks here. Notice these are very bad. Now, this Johnson & Johnson, the COVID approval actually looks pretty good. So one we need to move is this who declares a pandemic. So we want it to actually be like up here, okay? So just for trying, let's just add a 1 to this and run it. And that actually looks pretty good. What happens if we get rid of that? Yeah, that actually looks a little bit better. So notice here that now we have each of our everything now is nice and interactive. You can also see, for example, that it may have taken some time, maybe for that Johnson & Johnson to start, their stock to start going up after said, after they got approval. And again, probably it's because people started actually using it, maybe having better press coverage or something else. Now notice here we also have these lows extremely well. And again, notice here that the first infections didn't necessarily do a whole lot. Maybe this uptick had something to do with it, maybe it didn't, but definitely the downtick when people started having fears was down here, and it being created an actual pandemic. So again, this was a nice little example of what we can do with creating up some nice interactive graphics. Now, maybe one last thing I want to do. Now we have this slider down here, and maybe you like it, maybe you don't, but I've noticed that some people really dislike having the slider down there. So let's go on and add one more figure update to this, okay? And we can just go and do fig.update layout here, and we can actually get rid of that x-axis range slider visible. Is going to be false. Run that, and notice now this actually just gives us, we get rid of that slider there, and we can kind of have a nice, now if we really want to, we can just highlight, click, and drag to get the same type of feeling, and it's a little bit less clunky, I believe. So if you guys like this, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.